Husband and wife training partnerships are not unique to harness racing here in New Zealand. One of the more recent additions has been the Terry and Glenys Chmiel team. In just 5 short seasons, they've trained close to 100 winners. And of course, Terry, driving-wise, has already reined home over 550 winners himself. Let's head inside and catch up with Team Chmiel. Well, Terry, we find ourselves at your establishment these days. This harness racing caper's been pretty good to you.
Yeah, no, I can't complain. We've got a nice property in there and got a few good owners, and it's what we enjoy. So, no, it's taken all in our stride, but no, she's been a good life.
Let's talk about where it began. Ashburton and one of our great trainers of trotters, predominantly Dick Prendergast.
Yeah, I started in the holidays and weekends with Dick. He had quite a good team then, and he trained from Chertsey, and then he moved to Ashburton. But yeah, it was a good starting point, and learned a few of the ropes and what to do, and pick a lot of horse poo up. That's about it. And no, but he's a great trainer back then, and he had a good team when I started out there on the weekends. And
Ian Lockhead, you were there for a couple of weeks, and then made your way to one JC Hayes.
Yeah, I started with Ian. Left school. I wanted to get out of school and get a job, so he
wasn't much good to your school.
Oh, it was good to me, but I used to sneak away every Tuesday to go to the trials at Ashburton, and that. But no, so I started there for a couple of weeks, and John Hay was looking for someone, and he had quite a good race team, and worked for him for 5 or 6 years, I think, and moved up to Spraden Lodge with him, and he was a real good influence on us. Very hard boss at the time, but no, I learned a heap off John, and he was a great boss.
Was it a case with each of those guys of picking little pieces out of that and including it into your own trainer mix? Is that how it's worked for you?
Oh yeah, for sure. They're all different in their own way, and it's mainly every trainer does things different, and it's good to learn off different lot of fellas.
Michael J. House, you had a bit of time with him. Did you get a word in?
Yeah, no, Michael was good. I was there for about a year, I think, and learned a lot there, and all different. But he was good to me, and but there wasn't much sort of driving opportunities there, so I sort of went ahead.
Yeah, you had a bit of a spell from the game. You went overseas?
Yeah, I ducked over in Europe, had a look around. My brother was living there, so just had a look around and see what I wanted to do, and I sort of missed the horses over there, so I come back and got a job with Bruce Negus.
Quite a good time to be there. There was a little horse that went something like 24 unbeaten runs, and you were his strapper, if you like, Courage Under Fire.
Yeah, when I worked for Bruce at the start, we had probably only 10 horses in work, and but there were 10 good ones, you know. Courage Under Fire, Africa, there's Sly Flying, like some real good horses. And yeah, Bruce was laid back, and the way he worked them and that, and he just a good eye for a horse, and he was a great boss too, actually. He looked after me well.
Talking about Courage Under Fire, I've talked to Bruce several times over the years, and he always maintained that the horse trained himself. He was that good. Is that what you remember, or was Bruce probably understating it a wee bit?
Oh no, Bruce done a great job with him. Like he just like his best friend. You know, everywhere he went, he was with him. So he used to cop a bit of work, and he's the one went the card every day by himself and did work every day. So no, Bruce spent a lot of time with him and looked after him. 6 derbies he won. Hasn't been matched since. No, he's a super wee horse, wasn't he? Like, he's just a wee gentleman too. Like, he's just had high speed, and you could work him hard or work him slow, and he still just come out and win. So no, he's a real good horse.
And he's done himself proud in the breeding barn too.
Oh, he's just a good winner, isn't he? So it's like every stallion. There's a lot of duds, but there's a lot of good ones too.
Was there any race that he won, Terry, that stood out more than others for you? I remember on show day one day he had a heck of a hard run, 3 wide and up on the speed, and yeah, probably should have got beaten that day.
Yeah, Robert Cameron left him out 3 wide and a round to go.
Yeah.
But there was a massive run. But the Derby in Moonee Valley was
Victoria.
Yeah, we were there, and it was a pretty special.
From Bruce Negus's to Dave Anderson, one of the gentlemen of harness racing, you had good success there too, including Group 1 win with Hurricane Flyer.
Yeah, it was a good time there. He had a big team had about 19 or 20 in work, and they're all race teams. So Hurricane Flyer was a good horse, won the Derby and won about 7 or 8, I think. But he had a lot of good trotters at the time. Just can't think of off by hand. But and then Blair Gowie won a few, but he had a real good race team and always honest. So he was great to work for. Him and Sue they were real good bosses. Learned a lot and looked after you.
And they gave you a real good go, didn't they?
Oh yeah, they gave me a big go. Drove everything, and the owners were kind enough to let me drive them all, and that got me going a bit and got quite a few winners there. And working was pretty laid back. You know, it was enjoyable working there.
There's a life away from racing at the Anderson stable. I think that's probably what you're trying to say, isn't it? They allowed you to have a life away from the stable. You weren't tied to it 7 days a week.
No, anytime I wanted to go races, they let me go. They were good, and but they were good bosses, and I really enjoyed working there.
You've had good success for the Shin brothers over the years. One stands out, Susie's Delight performances up at Alexandra Park. Were always pretty good. Is it Susie's Delight?
Susie's Delight, yeah, and it's Cherry Right, one of a few for it. But yeah, they've been real good to me. Like I drove for Malcolm for 8 years, I suppose, and everyone said to me he's had a few drivers, but I stuck there a wee while. The last couple of seasons been a bit quiet, but before that, like every horse that he took to the races would run the money, and they were good to drive, and you did tell you how to drive them, and you drove them the way he wanted to, and he was happy. So, no, they were great to me, and hopefully they've got a team coming up shortly.
Not that long ago, you surpassed 500 winners, driving-wise. When you started off, those sort of figures, they wouldn't have been anywhere near your mindset, but that's quite an achievement in a short period. Yeah,
and I sort of haven't, not a lot of, hadn't had a hell of a lot of drives, I suppose, but a sort of couple of years I had good seasons, and
7,394 to be in fact.
With a few years. No, but yeah, but probably the last 2 or 3 years I've concentrated on training a bit and haven't travelled as much as I used to. It's sort of hard to do both, but now the team's starting to go travel now, so hopefully get a few more drives, but there's that many good ones coming through drivers, they're hard to get.
Just going back a little bit, I was remiss of me not to mention your father and his influence on you being involved in the horses, because he was a handy horseman himself, and he trained a few winners on his own account.
Yeah, Dad was good. He owned horses. That's how we got into it, really. He had horses with Jack Carmichael and then Dick Prendergast, and that's sort of how I got to go and work at Dick's. And then he started just training a couple on his own and just enjoyed just a hobby trainer, but he done a real good job. He trained a few winners and just had a lot of fun. And he still takes a lot of pride in watching the races and keeps them going.
Driving-wise, okay, the Group 1s haven't come in a real flurry, but one will always go down in the history books as one of the great upsets in harness racing history. You beat Lyell Creek in a trotting free-for-all.
Yeah, there was a pretty special day that for Jim Dalgiddy. He's been good to me too. He's driven a lot of winners for Jim. My old mate. And no, it was one of the highlights, probably the highlight of my career really, on show day, beating Lyell Creek. He was going for 24, I think, or he was going to break Courage Under Fire's record, and Bruce was pretty happy with that too. So no, but Jim was been great to me too.
Training-wise, you went out on your own. We're going to meet the rest of the Chmiel clan very shortly, but was it always part of your mindset? Was it always something you thought, once I get myself established, I'm going to have a go at this game?
Oh, definitely back in my mind, but sort of to get going and to set up it did cost a lot of money, and we're lucky. I started here at Glenys's father, Bryce Buchanan, and sort of got a leg into it, and then we just bought the property off him, and otherwise, to get into the game now, it's really hard to buy a property around here, and Canterbury's the hardest place in New Zealand to train, but definitely the training's good to me. You have good days and bad days, but most of the time, you enjoy what you're doing, and it keeps you going.